Good morning. Tuesday, I have to think, is it morning or evening? Good morning. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to Hobby Evolution episode number 1390. Speaking, since it is Tuesday, it's a 2 for Tuesday. We go live at 7 p.m. Central tonight for eBay Auctions Live. So tune in tonight, 7 p.m. Central, 7 p.m.-ish. It's going to kind of be like in the morning. It's 7-ish. I think for the near future, it should be I might just say 7:30. Come on, it's 7:30 a.m. since we've been tardy like every day for the last month. But tonight, I do have a commitment at 6 p.m. Central to be on Greeny Sports Cards podcast. So join me at 6 p.m.-ish for the Greeny Sports Card podcast tonight. Let's see. I don't know if I have I don't even have, where's Twitter? There's Twitter. I think I can probably find a link for you. Where's Greeny at? There it is. Is there a link? I don't see a link. All right, but just find Greeny, Greeny, Greeny Sports Cards. They're all over social media, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. So just type in Greeny Sports Cards on YouTube. In fact, I'm going to do that right now. Join us. Let's type in old YouTube because I don't know if I'm subscribed. I'm terrible at subscribing. Greeny Sports Cards. Oops. Greeny Sports Cards. There it is. Oh, we got to hit subscribe. Only 87 subscribers. Let's hit them up. Here you go. I'm gonna drop this in the chat. Subscribe to Greeny Sports Cards, and I'm gonna share the screen as well. My arm's gonna get tired. I'm over the there you go. So check out Greeny Sports Cards here on YouTube. Their podcast 6 p.m. Central Time tonight, and there you go. So it should be on, I believe, this page. So happy Tuesday. Yesterday was a busy day. This whole week, I'm glad I don't have any. Do I have any card shows? No card shows this weekend. Thank goodness, because I am swamped. Which now I realize. Now I realize why January can be. My sales have been pretty shitty in the month of January, and I know why. The market for baseball cards is down a little bit in the month of January, comparatively speaking. I do see a little bit of an uptick on especially prospect sales. I'm moving a lot more first Bowmans, but those are low dollar sales. So why are my sales down? Well, because I'm not listing much higher dollar stuff. I'm not listing much at all. I did actually last week. I did list quite a bit. I think I listed over 1,000 cards last week, but a lot of those were lower dollar items. So I think that's part of it. I haven't, but so here's why are my sales down? And everybody can run this exercise. You just have to know what you're looking for in terms of why are my sales down? Why are my sales up? And once you identify that fact, you're as good as gold, because now moving forward, well, this is what I need to do to increase my sales. Now, there's certain months that my sales are going to be down, and unless I hired somebody to replace me for the time that I'm gone in March for spring training, in July on vacation, there's just no other way around that. So January is kind of one of those where you're coming off the holidays. It is a little bit slower, but I'm also at Cubs convention. I'm backlogged with that, then getting ready for the Madison Card Show. That always, hurts, being basically away for 2 days. And then if I get a Goodwill pallet, it sounds silly, and I just picked it up yesterday, but it really did. It takes away from my shipping and listing, listing and shipping. And so now I'm juggling listing and shipping and listing, and sorting and sorting and sorting and sorting. So all of that in auctions. So the three reasons why my sales are down. Number one, a little bit more time away. Three full days, basically 3.5 days at Cubs convention. Madison Card Show, that's kind of a push because that happens every month, but it's compounded after, coming off of being away for almost 4 full days. So that's just, it is what it is. That's something that I have to work around, right? But number two, what I am listing. You can list 1,000 cards, but if they're all $1.75 or 99-cent cards, you may not see a big push in sales. Your sell-through rates on low-end cards, on really anything on eBay, is going to be pretty low. Unless you're selling Jalen Hurts rookie cards for $1.50, you're going to sell the shit out of those. But if you're selling just the average card, your sell-through rate's going to be low. So that's number two. What I'm listing, quality of your listings. And there was a third. Third is auctions. I was seeing a big boost in my monthly sales because of all of the auctions I was running. And that's kind of taken a hit. It took a hit over the holidays just based on timing. Now this month I've had to dedicate much of my time to shipping, and I really there's not a lot of my inventory to find a good consistent 100 to 200 cards every single day can be difficult, even when there's 4 million cards surrounding me, because I don't want to just throw any card at auction. I want to kind of be careful with what I list at auction. So those are 3 reasons why. And if I started cherry picking, okay, I'm going to start listing higher dollar items. I'm going to start consistently listing 100 to 200 auctions every night. I guarantee you my sales will go boom. Timing, time is important. Time is of the essence. And once I find that time, I'll be able to get back to it. So my sales are down. It's been hopefully January will end up being one of my worst months, like it was in 2024, based on why my sales are the way they are in the month of January. Now February, even though February is a short month, I bet I nearly double my sales in the month of February over January. And there's some reasons. I will be unburied, and Top Series 1 is released, and that'll be a big boom. So that's what it is. John brings up a point that I'm going to agree and disagree with. Imagine that. That's why vintage is king. Shit don't go stale, but it's a low sell-through rate. And when I mean sell-through rate, I'm talking daily sell-through rate. I'm not talking, eventually vintage will sell. Absolutely. Well, so will modern. Doesn't matter what it is, stuff usually sells. Let's just take a look at what and let's just find a random from the last few hours, something that's sold from my eBay store. Going to be a lot of auction stuff. I don't want, let's do buy it now. Where's buy it now? Buy it now. There we go. All right. So, Dawn Staley, 2000 Topps Team USA Dawn Staley, sold for $2.50. That's been in my eBay store for probably a year or a year and a half. That's a terrible sell-through rate because it's been sitting for 365 plus days. Sold some vintage basketball, Larry Jones and Gary Melchione. Again, they sold, but those have been sitting in my eBay store for at least 6 months, probably 7 months, because I got those in June last year. So not a great sell-through rate sitting in my store for 7 months. Will it sell? Yes, but so will a 1990 Topps Jim Kelly, but I'm looking for liquid sales. I want stuff to sell fast. Does that mean I'm always listing inventory that's going to sell fast? Absolutely not. Because sometimes you just have to have it. It's kind of like here in Wisconsin, we have a lot of dairy cows. So in the winter months, dairy farmers will feed them a diet of filler. All right. So they have their regular diet, but then they have this, it's basically just filler. It's cottonseed. And so it's trucked up from Alabama and Georgia, and it's messy, but they feed it to the dairy cows, and it's filler for the winter months. And that's what my low sell-through rate items. Do I love vintage? Absolutely. Absolutely love vintage in the way it sells. Sometimes it's more liquid than others. Gary Melchione may take 6-8 months, a year to sell. But I know that it might sell, and sometimes it'll sell, in a group, somebody here's a great example. Last night I had a whole bunch of 72, 73 Topps basketball in my eBay, in my auctions. I think every one of them sold for $3 plus. I think there was an outlier. There was one that sold for like $4 or $5, but almost every one of them, there might have been one that sold for an opening bid of 99 cents, but almost all of them sold for like $3 to $4. Those were sitting in my eBay store at Buy It Now for $2.50 free shipping for 6 months, at least 6 months, maybe 7 months, because I think I listed those, and I think those 72, 73s were listed, one of the first things I listed in my eBay store from that estate sale. $2.50 free shipping, Buy It Now for 7 months. I put them on at auction, and they all sell for $3 or $4 plus shipping. That's sometimes those, like I'm seeing those bids come through. I'm like, oh, hey, great. This is awesome. So sometimes you take stale inventory, you turn it to auction, and it works out pretty well. So yeah, my sales are down, but I know exactly why my sales are down. And that's, when I see people that ask why your sales are down, you've got to look at your own store. And if you're a new seller, you may not understand the market or the cyclical sales of trading cards, depending on the sport, football, baseball, basketball. But once you understand, and everybody's store is different as well. Just because I'm saying, oh, my January, my sales are down, and I know why, the next person may be like, I'm having the best month I've had in the last 2 years. It's also dependent on what you're kind of going back to. One of the reasons my sales are down is what I'm listing. Based on if I didn't list anything, your sales are going to drop if you're not replenishing your stock. But everybody's store is different. You may be having the worst month ever, and the next person in the chat can be like, I've had the best sales I've had in 3 years. And then the next person's like, mine's okay. Mine's average. And the next person's like, oh, this is terrible. Next person's like, oh, this is awesome. Everybody is different. So don't compare yourself to other stores. It is good. It is a good guide. It's kind of like comps. And that's exactly what you're doing. You're comparing yourself. You're comping to other sellers. It does give you a little insight. And especially important when there's crazy stuff going on the back end of eBay. Impressions are down, page views are down, sales are like, there are outliers when it comes to sales. I know I have kind of this bar, like this is kind of, and you can look at my sales for the last 3 years, and it's basically like this, and there's just subtle increases on the base. And of course, there's going to be outliers up here. There's going to be outliers down here. And so sometimes you have to take a look, and usually it's easy to figure out. Actually, it's not usually. It always is easy to figure out when your sales are up here as an outlier. Well, I sold a $2,000 card, so my sales took a jump in one day. You only made $100 on this day. It's a little trickier to figure out why did I only make $100 when my average is 500 or 1,000 in a day. So everybody's is different. John says everybody's store is different. Unfortunately, a lot of your viewers don't realize that and want you to fix their problems. And yeah, it's business, sales, business. You just have to realize in when I was in sales, the last job I worked in the transportation industry, and we had, let's see, when I first started, we had a sales staff of 4 plus, 4 full-time, and then, some random would have some accounts that they serviced basically, but 4 dedicated sales personnel, reps, or whatever you want to call it. But everybody was in a different spot. I came in with basically 0 sales experience when it comes down to actual sales. Now, I worked in radio sales. Anybody? I know Zach is a former radio guy. Radio is even if you're an on-air personality, you are selling yourself. You are selling your radio station. You are selling. Maybe you're not going out and boots on the street, knocking on doors, trying to sell sales packages, but you are selling as an on-air personality. So I didn't have any boots on the street sales experience. So I had 0 sales experience from that regard. And I had 0 transportation experience. My transportation experience was a textbook, right? And we all know how much experience that is. Nothing. So I had nothing. So, and I'm comparing, and we have our list, and I am a competitor, and I want to be first, right? Even if I got 6 months under my belt, and I'm comparing myself to Ben and Jim and Jamie in my sales office, and I'm way down. It's like, how come I'm so far down? And my boss would reassure me, You've only been here for 6 months. You have 0 sales experience. You have 0 transportation experience. Jamie's been here 10 years. He's up top. He's been here 10 years. And he was in sales before that. So he has 15 years of sales experience, 10 years of transportation. And then you've got Ben in second. He's been here for 5 years. He was in transportation before that. He's got 10 or 15 years of transportation, plus 5 years of sales. And then you've got Jim. He's a little far ahead of you. If you want to compare, he's still got 3 years on you. He's been here 3 years. He's got some sales experience. Everybody's at different stages. And you can actually look at that on your eBay store. If you just decide, hey, I like baseball, cards are making money, and you're like, I've never done this before, and you do it for 6 months, you can't, well, Bo or the Dollar Box or Charlie from JC3 or who else is selling cards on here? I mentioned those guys because I watch their videos. They've been doing it for a while. And you can't compare yourself to YouTube people that have been doing this for years, unless they're YouTube people that just started, 6 months ago. So just stop comparing yourself, because it's going to drive you nuts. And what happens is you get disappointed in your own results because you are unfairly comparing yourself to others, and then you just give up. I went on Whatnot. I had shitty sales. I'm done. That's what happens on Whatnot. If you want to sell on Whatnot, you're going to have bad sales. I have a pretty big following. 3,000, 4,000 subscribers on YouTube, Twitter. I'm still going to lose money on Whatnot. If I go start a channel on Whatnot, I'm going to lose money. I bet. So, and if you don't have any social media, it's a taller hill to climb. So just keep that in mind. I see it all the time. Sometimes in this chat, a lot of times on the Hobby Evolution Facebook page. Sales suck. A lot of people are quitting. And that's okay. You can quit. If you don't enjoy it, don't keep doing it. Don't be like me in my last job. Did it for 8 years and hated it for 7. Don't be afraid to quit. If you don't like it, I mean, this is one of those great sports cards. It's a great opportunity to turn a hobby into a business, but it's not for everybody. And I didn't think it was for me. 6 months before I quit my job to sell cards full time, I'm like, I'll never do that. I'd never, because I just want it to be a hobby. And here I am, and I love it. In fact, I love selling cards more today than I did 3 years ago. I'm picking up Goodwill pallets and going to card shows, promoting a card show. I love it. So I don't know what got me going. John Keating probably wound me up on that. And then I go off on a 20-minute tangent. We're going to talk about my Goodwill pallet today. Speaking of eBay, and here I go off on this tangent, and I don't even promote my eBay store, 99centcards.com. 99centcards.com, 7 or more at regular price. You'll save 25% off at checkout. And don't forget, I have auctions running almost every night. Almost every night. Had auctions end last night, have auctions ending tonight. We'll stream live at about 7 p.m. Central. We'll count down the auctions. Kind of a light night in auctions in my eBay store tonight, but that just means you could get some deals. I need to focus on shipping, first of all, and then I need to focus on some of the stuff to get prepared for tonight's auctions. I think I'm going to ramp it up with, we're right in the middle of the Super Bowl, with the Super Bowl, 12 days away now, or 11. We will ramp it up, and I found, especially yesterday with the Goodwill pallet finds, some good football stuff. And I'm going to do a little show and tell about yesterday's Goodwill pallet. All right, so let's go to the chat. We'll talk more. We'll probably sprinkle in some more eBay talk. We'll sprinkle in some Goodwill pallet talk. We'll say hello to Mr. Archer. What's going on? I've got to move this stack of cards because otherwise my arm's going to go dead. All right, much better. Unicorn Cupcakes in the house. Good morning. Lewis is here. Good morning. Billy Joe's here. Good morning. David is here. What's happening? JW's in the house. Good morning. It's been a while. Welcome back. Good to see you. Andy Mack is here. Good morning. This was go subscribe to Greeny Sports Cards 7917 on YouTube. I will be appearing on their podcast tonight before we do eBay auctions live, starting at 6 p.m. Central. Over on Greeny Sports Cards 7917. Hit the subscribe to Greeny. Greeny's an awesome dude. So here, a little backstory on Greeny. I've known Greeny for, let's see, it's 2025. So probably 7 years now? I met Greeny through my buddy Steve Miller, not from the band, but Steve Miller, not the band, and did my first huge Cubs trade with Steve back at the Chicago Sports Spectacular of 2018. Would have been 2018. And it was probably 30 or 40,000 Cubs cards in trade. He was looking for like Cardinals and Red Sox and Diamondbacks. So we did a huge team trade, and he was working with Greeny. And that's how I met Greeny, and Steve and I continued doing trades. I bought some stuff from Greeny over the years. We met up, hung out a little bit at the Spectacular back in November. And so we've been trying to, based on the holidays were tough. And then I think he wanted to have me on last week, and I couldn't do last week. But tonight is the night. So check it out. Greeny Sports Cards 7917 on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button on his channel. Great guy in the hobby. And you see him at most of the big shows across the country. Greeny Sports Cards. He's based out of Cleveland, Ohio. Porter's here. What's happening? Good morning. Andy Mack has subscribed. Thank you, Andy. Peter's here. Good morning. Orlando's in the house. What's happening? Kyle is here. Good morning. Hopefully there's just a little NASCAR in this pallet. So I didn't have a chance. I don't know. It's a huge pallet. It was like over 800 pounds. but I didn't have a chance as I was loading. Usually I'm looking through, but I was like, it was so many cards, so many more cards than usual. I didn't really take a second to look through some stuff. But I'll talk more about what's inside. Tracy's in the house. Good morning. Brian is here. Offbeat All Stars. Good morning. John says, sounds like there's no formula to sell when the market is constantly shifting. There isn't. There really isn't. Kind of going back to the eBay sales, the only formula is list good cards at good prices. And good cards means liquid. And that is always changing. You know, right now, Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley, if you list those, they will sell if you have them priced right. Now, if the Eagles lose the Super Bowl in next month, Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley are yesterday's news, and they're not going to be as liquid anymore. But something that's not liquid today, there's a Bowman prospect right now that's barely selling for 99 cents or $1.50 that might be a $5 card in 6 months. It's constantly shifting. The market is constantly shifting, and that's from a macro standpoint. And when you drill it down into a micro standpoint, from Trevor Lawrence, this was in the Goodwill Pallet, just sitting there. And 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, whenever that rookie, no chance that would have been left in a Goodwill pallet, a box of Mosaic Trevor Lawrence rookie card. So it's always changing. So the only formula is list good cards at good prices. And good is in if you want to sell, good equals liquid. And liquid is always changing as well. What's liquid today may not be liquid tomorrow. And what's not, and here's where you can find some deals. What's not liquid today could be liquid tomorrow. And then you get into speculation. Dad Dude from Duryea, what's happening? Good morning. That's why vintage is king, says John. Christian, good morning. Dan's in the house. Orlando says, and he voted for John also. Red Light 34 is here. What did I miss? Not much. Brian, good morning. John says, screw your sell-through rate. If you have enough vintage, then your supposed sell-through will be steady. You have to build the infrastructure first. There is truth to that, but I want to sell fast. And I can sell a whole bunch of 70s commons, and this is why I want to be balanced. I like balance in my life. I could go strictly vintage, and your sales are going to be like this. It's what you like, but you also want to see those boop, boop, boop. And that's where Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley and Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, you get those spikes. New product is released in a couple weeks, Top Series 1. That's going to be a spike because not everybody, a lot of people are going to want Series 1, and they're going to pay above prices of what it's going to be in 2 weeks. And that's why you got to hit the market at the right time. February 12th, I believe. I haven't looked since pre-release, pre-sale went up, but I think it's February 12th. But, you'll sell an insert card for $2.50 on release day that will be a 99-cent card in 3 weeks. When you're relying on Series 1, then it's a gimmick. There you go. And I didn't even see this quote from John, or this comment from John. Anomalies is what they call them. But Series 1 is consistent year after year. Top Series 1, year after year. If you sell it on release, you will make money if you do it right. And it's easy. Get it on release day, list it as fast as you can, within reason, a couple days. Otherwise, your $2.50 sale is going to be 99 cents. But if you list that stuff right away, you will sell. And we've been doing this for 40 years. And people haven't learned that if they wait, we lack patience in this world. Most people can't wait 2 weeks for prices to come down. They have to have that card now. Oh my God. This Dylan Cruz rookie card, I have to have it. It's going to be a $5 to $10 card at release, and it's going to be in a quarter box next year. people don't have patience. They will spend $5 to $10 on that hot rookie, even knowing it's going to drop in price. And we've been through this year after year after year after year, and it's consistent. Low Roller Scratcher is here, but I think he's been timed out. He says, did you find Pokemon Magic? No. And for the 23rd, this is the 23rd pallet for the 23rd time to Low Roller Scratcher, if he can still hear us. They do not put Pokemon and Magic in the Goodwill pallets. Every once in a while. One time out of 20, I haven't looked through this 23rd pallet yet completely. I've looked at 3 boxes so far. There was a binder of Pokemon. In one pallet, there was a binder. It was a good binder, too. I sold it to Max. But that's the only time there's been significant Pokemon. There's random, usually it gets tossed because it's beat up and probably a common. John says, what percentage of your first to market sells fast? The remainder is dead inventory. I mean, on Series 1, I'll probably double my money in a week. And then the rest is stale. It's not dead inventory, it's stale. I still sell 2024 Top Series 1. I made my money 11 months ago on 2024 Top Series 1, and I still have some in my inventory because it still sells. And it's like vintage. 2024 Top Series 1 Commons, just like vintage. It'll sell eventually when it comes to commons. Dan says, do I know anyone in Wisconsin that has a farm? Probably. Like nobody in my, I'm sure I do. But nobody that I could just be like, oh yeah, Jim. Jim owns a farm down the street, down the road. So I'm just going to say no. I'm going to say yes, I do probably know someone that has a farm, but not off the top of my mind. Like I could ask my wife, and my wife has a much better memory than me. I'd be like, do we know anybody that has a farm? And she'll be like, she'll name off like 12 people. And I'm like, oh, I didn't realize they had a farm. Maybe not 12, maybe 2. John says, shut up, LRS. The adults are talking. John needs a Snickers. That's as consistent as vintage. John needing a Snickers. There's a small market for Philadelphia Goat Dawn Staley. There's a larger market for Billy Kilmer. Dan wants to know where John's at. Everybody's store is different. Yes, absolutely. Low Roller says your sales are way down because you were you overachieving your sales last 90 days. Everything can't go up forever. Yeah, it can. If you keep doing things right, absolutely you can. John says, I'm in Vegas. Dan says, what do you think of Vegas? John hates it. I spend 45 to 60 days a year here. Johnny M sold a 98 Ultra Mark McLemore Platinum of 100 at auction last night for $10 plus shipping. Sat in my store for 8 months at $2.99 shipped. See, sometimes that's the magic of auctions. And sometimes you could grab, here's something I'll probably put at auction. And I don't know what the approximate sale would be, but 2007 Topps Chrome Red Refractor Carl Crawford. And I pulled this out of a dollar box. Where did I get this? I think I got this out of a dollar box. And I'm like, yeah, this could be, I don't know. I'm not comping stuff out of dollar boxes, but this could be a good buy. Say it's 10, it could be $10 card at buy it now. It might only sell for 99 cents at auction. I could list this for $10, buy it now, and it might sell in a week. Or I could put it at auction and it sells for 99 cents in a week. It just takes that one person to buy it. But for an auction, it takes 2 to really want a card. So it's balance. There you go. It's back to balance. A nice little balance. And that's kind of why I like putting stale inventory at auction. Like my 72-73 basketball. Sat in my store for $2.50 for 7 months. Didn't sell. Sold for $3 to $4 a pop at auction last night. John will be back in 3 weeks. Dan went there once. I'm a bore, so it's not for me. I'm similar. I've been to Vegas twice, and it's just I'm glad I was there. I'm glad I went. It was okay. But it's not somewhere it's like, oh, I can't wait to go back to Vegas. It's just not, Vegas ain't for me. I'm not a gambler. I don't do sports betting. I don't play poker. I don't play blackjack or roulette, slot machines. I don't do any of that. So Vegas just isn't a thing for me. Porter says, I sold a card to Charlie Manuel yesterday. Did he ever manage Manny Ramirez? Charlie Manuel. He might have. We could probably look it up. Charlie Manuel, managerial record. He sure did. He managed Manny Ramirez in 2000, 2001, and 2002 for the Cleveland Indians. I assume Manny, well, you know what assuming does. I assume Manny Ramirez was on one of those teams, but he may not have. He was. He was on the 2000 team. Let's see. Manny was on the 2000 team. So Manny's last year in Cleveland was Charlie Manuel's first year managing. So he managed him for one season. But Charlie might have been, was he in the minors in Cleveland, in the Cleveland minor league system? Charlie Manuel. Boy, he's getting up there. He's he's not that old. He's 81. I guess he's younger than I thought. He's younger than I thought. Minor league career. Okay. As a coach. Oh yeah. So he was around Manny Ramirez for a long time because he was a coach for the Indians from 1994 to 1999, and then took over as manager in 2000. So yeah, he was with Manny for quite a while. Gem City Card Show, Vegas. Remember the Mint Collective? Whatever happened to that? Yeah, that just kind of it went to the wayside with HGA and what was slab stock, or that slab stock might still be a thing. What were some of the other fly-by-night hobby startups? John says he taught many of those Indians to be major league sluggers. If he didn't manage Manny, he instructed him in the minors, just like Tommy. Dan says, my Menko meetup could not influence Zach to vote for me. What? The Mint Collective was one of my favorite things ever to denigrate in this hobby. Not sure how it could ever succeed. That dude from Duryea says, auctions bring in more eyeballs and stale inventory happens to get noticed. I feel a buy it now and auction balance works best. And and that's what I've been saying now. I've been running auctions for how long now? Just a few months. And I used to hate auctions, and I still do hate auctions on certain items. It's like I'd never put that at auction. But turning stale inventory from buy it now to auction can work out. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it does. But yeah, I found that there's a nice balance of, sometimes I'll throw things at auction that I would have put in my buy it now for $250 because I don't comp, and it sells for $40, and I'm happy. Low Roller says I have 8 years crypto trading experience. I know which crypto coin to buy. Compare the first time buying crypto ever. Good job. John has a wrench, and he knows how to use it. Andy Mack went to Vegas once. I hated it. It's so fake and scummy. John says Whatnot requires almost constant attention. Yeah, and I don't think Whatnot is going to be something that, I thought 2025 might be the year of transition to Whatnot. No, it will not. I probably won't do Whatnot. Losing money is the thing breakers say on Whatnot. Johnny M says you actually can't compare yourself to YouTube influencers if you were not on YouTube. John says you're looking dangerously close to Chaz Bono. That's not a compliment. Max says 100% Johnny, too many do. Low Roller says I quit my job the last 20 years. Now he plays skill games full time, looking for free bonuses. Hey, you can't beat that. That sounds like a great gig. What's in the box? Porter says Bo would be a star on free. Hey, I like Fremont Street. I prefer Fremont Street over the Strip. Fremont, that's entertaining. The Strip, Bargain Boxer, let's go. What's the countdown? Where are we at? How many days? John says, I have a meeting in 5 minutes. Can you wrap this up? Well, and that was 18 minutes ago. John might be back. He might be out of his meeting already. Johnny says, been on eBay over 25 years. Don't have the same results as you guys. No desire to do YouTube. It works for me. And that's the thing. Like, you don't have to. If you're happy doing what you're doing, that's great. But there's a lot of people that complain about their sales that want to be doing more. And I think a lot of them are falsely comparing themselves to others. Dan wants to know, did you put him in timeout? He did. Bargain Boxer says, selling cards is a job. I don't want a job. Steals and deals. And that's okay too. John says, the name of the show is not Crypto Evolution. Bargain Boxer says, been on eBay 27 years. No YouTubey for me. John was on eBay when it was just a pond. Bargain Boxer, 28 years on eBay. I'm old. Let's see. For me, it's been 20. This is 20, year 26 for me. July of 99. I think that the math works on that. July of 99 was my first account. John says Frank Thomas did greenies when he first came up. Frank Thomas also against PEDs, he says. SoCal guy is here. Happy Tuesday. Max says LRS and 70s have never been in a room together. Just saying. John says made to order is great if you're running a deli. Not so good for an eBay story. There's a lot of cleanup when a hot player's 15 minutes is up. Sounds like double work. Not necessarily. It can be. I got Aristides Aquino taking up real estate on my eBay store. I mean, I can just go in and be like, Aquino, delete, and there's no Aquinos. So it's easier to delist and get those, but then I have inventory that shouldn't be in there. Although if I go through a stack and there's an Aquino, I know all of my Aquinos are gone. And let's just do that. Aristides Aquino, you are gone from my eBay store in 2 minutes. So let's just do that. Come on. For some reason, eBay's super slow on this. Maybe we won't. It's still loading. All right. But I have a whole bunch of listings, so that's probably why. It's still loading. Okay, so we're not going to do that. Gem City Card Show says Pokemon Boom is still going wild. Yeah, like I don't know if you were here on Sunday reviewing the Madison Card Show, but I mean, it's still ascending. Like the Pokemon is still going up. I thought it would have I thought the card boom in general would have tanked years ago. You know, I thought 2022, it's like, oh, it's going to go back to 2015. No. It's sports cards is kind of plateaued. Pokemon's still on its ascent. Max says sell-through rate is literally the only thing that matters in any business. I agree. Bargain Boxer says that box balancing precariously on the counter behind you scares me. Oh, it's mostly on the counter. It's mostly on the counter. Oh yeah. I've got a lot of cleaning to do. Gem City says he's going to find it this time now. Star stock. Thank you. Star stock was the word I was looking for. Cooter says 80% of your sales come from 20% of what you list. It's the good old 80-20 rule. After the 80% sits, clearance it out to make room. If it ain't turning, it ain't earning. 183 days. Porter says, what's your record for number of negative feedback left by one buyer? Ooh, this is one of my biggest fears on a volume transaction because I've had this happen before. It was probably around 15. This was pre-cards, or I mean, I was still doing cards, but I was selling a bunch of random shit as well. And I think I've shared this horror story. It basically shut down my eBay account because I was doing so little volume. So 15 today wouldn't hurt, but it wasn't the negative feedback that killed me. It was the I think it went to items closed without whatever. So here's the story. So I sold I sold like a lot. These were all promo CDs that I got from the radio station back 20 years ago. And this was probably 10 years ago that I sold a whole bunch to one buyer. And I sold like a lot, and I sold some separates. All in all, say there was a dozen. Say there was 12 total transactions. So in transit, some of the jewel cases got damaged. Now, here's the thing. The jewel cases I offered to replace because they were just shitty jewel cases. Like they were scratched all the hell. It wasn't like they were brand new CDs, okay? So, no. And so they were trying to pull a fast one, and they only wanted to keep, because I think in the lot there was some like crappy CDs, and there was a Tom Petty that was a little more valuable, and there were some other CDs that were more valuable. So they opened a return because it was damaged. They only returned the shitty CDs and all the jewel cases. They basically just set back all the jewel cases, but that's why they opened the return, was because the jewel cases were damaged. Yet they sent everything back and only kept the good CDs. So we fought back and forth over this. I took it to eBay. I was on the phone with eBay multiple times, and they're like, well, and this was when there was like no seller coverage. Like if you were the seller on eBay, you were fucked. So I fought it and fought it and fought it. And so basically it went to eBay, because eBay's like, well, they can leave all those negative feedbacks. It doesn't affect your seller rating. But what does affect your seller rating is not responding to the request or whatever, which I was trying to make things work, but they escalated it. And then, so that got me a ding. So I was down to like, eBay only allowed me, because I was doing such little volume at that time, I could only do like 10 items a month. I could only list like 10 items a month. So this was back in like 2014 or 2015. So I opened a second account. And at this time you could open an account and you were limited and you would get like 10. So I could open like all of these. I'm like, I call eBay and I'm like, can't you just like, I can open a second account under my same PayPal and business info, but you won't allow me to sell more than 10 on this account, but yet I can open 6 accounts and list 60 items a month on various accounts. And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, but you won't let me. I am selling 60 items or listing 60 items a month, but you won't let me list those 60 on one account because it's still me on those other 5. You understand that? Yes. And that's how it works. That is stupid. Now, this was 10, 12 years ago. So far in the past, but yeah, that fucked me up. Now, today, 15 wouldn't. It would hurt. I mean, it would be like a punch in the arm, but you can adapt, you can overcome that. You know, if you're only selling 10 to 20 items in a month and you get 15 dings, I mean, negatives aren't going to affect your seller rating, but they will affect, you know, your look. If you're getting 1,000, 5,000 a month. Oh no, I don't think anybody's getting 5,000 a month. Well, not in here, but that feedback score will take a hurt, but it shouldn't affect your seller rating. Low Roller says you can't compare being someone like Mr. Beast if you were doing YouTubes. Exactly. Orlando says 26 years on eBay for me too. Dad Dude from Duryea says over 45K items sold, but it was a hobby for 15 years that I paid taxes on. Bargain Boxer says, did someone say this place is called Crypto Evolution? Great. Should I buy Bitcoin at a gas station and then cash out selling that Bitcoin in a gas station? Sounds legit. Absolutely. Max says, here's another feather in the cap of Pokemon. A fairly popular break group I've been in for years is having trouble filling a Bowman's Best case, but has filled multiple overpriced Pokemon cases. I'm going to ask, and I don't want the name of the popular breaker. Is it somebody that I know? Max says, and by overpriced, I mean by 20 to 25%. It's insane. The Pokemon market is crazy right now. Orlando says, YouTube sports cards content is like a needle in a YouTube haystack. Absolutely. Max says, notice how LRS is back and the wrench is gone. Whose wrench? John's wrench? Oh, and the wrench. Oh, John. Yeah, John is gone and LRS is back. Bargain Boxer says, thanks, LRS. Bargain Boxer says, I tried to buy it 3.5 years ago from my credit union. They told me to get the fuck out. Max says, I don't. Oh, okay. I don't know many breakers. I don't know. I know of like the bigger breakers, and then I know other breakers, but not many. So Goodwill Pallet, I picked it up yesterday, and so here's an interesting. I don't like to divulge too much information, but when I'm actually at the location, I can kind of share. So a guy came up like from Goodwill. I assume he works at Goodwill in some capacity. But he came up and he goes, "Are you the guy that found the Mike Piazza?" And I go, "I found a Mike Trout." He goes, "Yeah, the Trout. Yeah." And I said, "Yep." And he goes, "Where, like, how did you find?" Now, I don't want to give too much away. And I'm like, I told him the truth, though. I said, "Oh, it was in a box. It was in like one of these boxes, but it was like all hockey cards." And then there was a small stack of baseball. I started going through the baseball, and there it was. And then he starts talking, and he knows a lot more about cards than what he let off with. I'm like, so I think he helps on the card side. He kind of gave a little insight into, how when things come in, and he would look over, and he's like, we had Jim Brown rookie cards come in, and it's pretty crazy the stuff that comes in. But kind of like what we've talked about here is Goodwill can't hire somebody to look through all of the donations and make sure a Mike Trout blue auto slips through the cracks, because that's a great example. Like, you would have to go through every single box. And at this point, and then there was another guy who doesn't really know cards who was with him. And so, he goes, well, how? He goes, it's probably going to take you a year to get through this. And I'm like, oh, no. I'll have another 10 pallets by then. Hopefully. I said, it'll take me about a week, maybe 2 weeks to go through this. And there's going to be some stuff that I don't go through. And he's like, well, how do you know you're not missing anything? Well, I don't know, but I get a general idea. And so I pointed out there was a box of 90 Tops and a box of 90 Donruss. And I said, these two boxes, and I opened the lid, and I said, the cards are all, and it was basically somebody opened the packs and put the cards back in. And I said, I don't even need to go through these boxes because I know exactly what's in there. The best card, 90 Tops, the best card in there is going to be a Frank Thomas, $2 on eBay. To go through all of these cards, I'm not going to spend the time. So this will, I'll just bulk it out like what you do here at Goodwill. So the other guy that knew about cards, he's like, yeah, he goes, that's when you hear the term junk wax era, this is like the prime of the junk wax era. So, and I said, but there's boxes, like this 800 count box, I can kind of get an idea. I can take a stack out. I can go through it. Some stuff I'll let sit on my shelf. I'll pick up a pile. If there's nothing in there, I'll just put it on a shelf and save it for a rainy day. And then I told the story of the Terry Bradshaw where I thought it was all junk, and there was a Terry Bradshaw rookie at the bottom. So I kind of have an idea. Now, yesterday, I only went through this pallet filled up. Usually it fills up, I'd say 3/4 of the back hatch, plus I put a few boxes in the back seat. This one filled all the way to the roof. Couldn't see out of my mirror. All the way to the roof in the back hatch, and filled up most of the back seat. So a lot more cards this time than the previous pallets. So I just started pulling boxes. I pulled, I think, 3 boxes when I got home, and first box was like all modern football and basketball, and now there's no Mike Trout blue first chrome autos, but a lot of serial numbered stuff. So stuff like this that will be great quarter box and dollar box stuff. Devonta Smith, I'll probably put a lot up since he's playing in the Super Bowl. So I've got a bunch of his rookie cards that I'll probably lot up. Richard Sherman, number to 299. Some of this stuff will be probably 99-cent auctions. TJ Watt, numbered to 99. This one's numbered to 75. Trevor Lawrence, rookie. There were autos, relics. Here's a Josh Downs patch, rookie swatch. Here's Kadarius Toney, rookie patch, numbered to 75. Jonathan Taylor patch. This one's not serial numbered. Johnny Davis, Wisconsin Badgers patch. There's a ton of Johnny Davis. A lot of serial numbered like this. Sam Darnold, numbered to 199. Bunch of Justin Jefferson rookies. Tom Brady, easy. This is VIP pack for Tom Brady. That'll probably list as a single. Here's a dual patch, Desmond Ridder and Michael Vick. You got lights out or lighted up, Josh Allen. And I have, so this is half a stack. And I've got about 6 stacks of all serial numbered autos, patches. Here's a Joey Porter Jr. jumbo patch. Let's see. Davis Mills jumbo patch, numbered to 399. Sky Moore rookie in the Super Bowl. So I'll probably put that maybe at auction. Some Jalen Hurts. Saquon Barkley, already sold a lot. Put a Saquon Barkley lot up, already sold it. There were some Saquon patches. Steph Curry, Luka, Brady, Kelsey, Giannis. There were like 50 Giannis cards. And a lot of color on the Giannis. I might list that like a 50 card lot for a decent amount. So Joe Klecko auto. So that was all in the first box. The most recent box, and I'm still going through this box. So I spent after tax, it was $900 for this pallet. There's about $100 that I found already in Bowman Chrome U women's basketball cards, just of Paige Beckers. Is it Beckers, Buchers? But I think there's 4 or 5. These sell for like $15. Then there was an insert, a couple of these. I found 2 or 3 Caitlin Clarks. These are $10 to $15. Cameron Brinks go for about $5. So about $100 just in those. Beckers, thank you, Max. Let's see, what else did we find? Saquon, Tom Brady. This is a short print. I haven't looked this up yet. Andrew McCutcheon short print from 2015 Topps. Small pile of Jordans. Love me Jordans. Those are easy sellers. I thought I brought my Saquon. There were like 3 or 4 Saquon Barkley patches. LaMelo Ball rookies, Anthony Edward rookies. Patches, autos. Like this is just one stack. This whole box was just filled with color, patches, autos, serial numbers, good rookies. So this palette already, and I've only gone through 3 boxes. I haven't even gone through the 3rd box completely yet. Is already better with what I found in the first 2.5, 3 boxes. Is already better than the complete palette I bought last time. So now this one costs a little bit more, but this is a much better palette than the last one. Now it's going to take a lot to beat the previous one before that with the Mike Trout, but some good stuff so far. And this is not even me cherry picking boxes. This is just pulling a box out. Oh, okay, I'm going to go through this. Now there is a lot of junk in here. Like I said, there's 90 Topps, 90 Donruss. There was a 91 score box of unopened Well, some of them, it looked like they were all opened, but only like the 5 or 6 packs. So there's like 30 unopened 91 score baseball packs. Now you're like, 91 score, but you can throw those in a box at a card show and sell them for $1 a piece. People buy junk wax packs for $1. and usually do pretty well. So my next card show is going to be, I've already started quarter boxes for a lot of this stuff. My next card show will be Super Bowl Sunday. So what is Super Bowl Sunday? The 8th, 9th, something like that. 12 days, 11 days from today. I'll be in Janesville, Wisconsin, Janesville Card Show, Super Bowl Sunday. So I will have new quarter boxes. I'll have a whole, like, if you didn't see me at the Kane County Card Show back in December, I had a whole bunch of new stuff then, and I haven't done a card show since. So if you didn't see me in Kane County, I will have a ton of new stuff in my quarter boxes. I'll probably have some packs. Might just be those 91 score, but maybe there's some other unopened. Actually, there's some hockey packs in here, and I still have some hockey packs that haven't sold. So I'll have some packs. I don't know if I'll do dollar boxes. I wanted to kind of changing of the guard on dollar boxes. I probably won't have dollar boxes ready for Janesville because a lot of this stuff, like these serial numbers, normally would go in a dollar box. I'm going to test them out on auction. And focus on that. But come see me in Janesville in less than 2 weeks, Super Bowl Sunday, for the Janesville Card Show. Orlando says, good start. Yes, it was. Low Roller says, don't forget to list wrestling cards this week. It's Royal Rumble. That's what I'm doing this weekend. Royal Rumble. Love the Royal Rumble. In fact, as I'm shipping, I might have a Royal Rumble on in the background today. So Royal Rumble is this weekend. Wrestling does not sell for me. Wrestling is a very weak seller for me. I sell about the same amount of Aristides Aquino cards as I do wrestling cards. So I've got a stack built up that I'll just put in my quarter box of basically it looked like this person just rips a lot of product. And and I know who it is because it's still in the box that they have it delivered to. I might just try to reach out to them and be like, hey, instead of donating this to Goodwill, although the tax write-off might beat what I would pay, I'd be like, hey, because it's I got the name and address, so I can. Hey, I've been picking out your stuff from the Goodwill pallets. Will you sell this? All right, so. That's another perk to Goodwill pallets. So that's what I had for today. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Stay tuned. I'll probably be posting some more finds on Twitter at 1 Million Cubs. Tonight, 6 p.m. Central, I'll be on Greeny Sports Cards podcast, 6 p.m. Central. So tune into that. He's on YouTube. There you go. Hit the subscribe button. Did we add any? He was at 87 when I hit the subscribe button. He's at 94. All right. So Greeny Sports Cards, hit the subscribe button. Try to get him to 100 subscribers here. So Greeny Sports Cards on YouTube and Greeny Sports Cards on all the various platforms: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, eBay. And of course, YouTube, Greeny Sports Cards 7917. Give him a follow. Great dude out of Cleveland, Ohio. You see him at the National, the Chicago Sports Spectacular. And I don't know if he does Dallas. I think he does Dallas. I think he does all the big shows. So check him out. Greeny Sports Cards on YouTube. And I'll be on his podcast tonight at 6 p.m. And after that, I'll be eBay Auctions Live. So after the podcast, we'll be streaming live here on this channel, watching the auctions countdown from my eBay store, which is scrolling at the bottom of your screen, 99centcards.com. Buy 7 or more at regular price, and that's buy it now only. You'll save 25% off at checkout. And I have auctions running a few nights this week. So check out the auctions. And of course, check out tonight's auctions. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Have a wonderful Tuesday, and we'll see you later tonight.